The first week of Jaguars training camp is in the books. Let's go ahead and go around the team and kind of discuss some things that we've been hearing and some things that I've seen personally revolving around Jaguars training camp. Now, I've been going to training camps really ever since the Jack Del Rio era. I've been to training camps involving, like I said, Jack Del Rio, onto Gus Bradley, onto Doug Marrone, and now Urban Meyer. And going into this practice, I wasn't even really trying to focus in on Urban Meyer, but Urban Meyer kept standing out in a bunch of ways. First of all, before practice, he actually spoke to the fans and gave a little pep talk and just kind of talked to the fans a little bit. I've never seen any coach do that. I've never seen any coach actually take a microphone and talk to the fans the way he did. So obviously that was really cool. He was also the first person out on the field before any player, before anybody. I mean, he was out there first amongst anybody. You know, I've seen coaches and stuff like that come halfway through. You know, never were they the very first person on the field. And also, Urban Meyer is extremely hands-on. If you guys watch my latest vlog, which I really encourage you guys to do that, Urban Meyer is just standing right next to the drills, standing inches away from these players, just watching them, you know, putting really some pressure on them. And it's a really cool thing to see. I mean, a lot of times in the past, I'll see, you know, kind of the head coach standing back, looking, supervising type of thing. But this is the first time I've ever actually seen a coach like getting in there, getting his hands dirty, actually getting really involved in, and whether it be like an actual 11 on 11 drills or actually like one-on-one type of stuff where it's, you know, a player versus a dummy. I mean, he is all over it, and it's just really cool to really see. And another big thing about these practices now is that they have this like this voice that says, all right, 1 minute till next drill, 30 seconds, 10 seconds, 9, 8, 7. And it's like players are like running all the time. They are getting right to their next drill. Like there is no like stoppage where players are like walking at all. And, you know, it's different because I know, like, I'm looking over at the Detroit Lions, and the Detroit Lions right now, Dan Campbell, this big, PC principal looking guy, he's like having the team do like up downs, and he's having them down doing push-ups, and it's just a bunch of like, you know, okay, like I get you're being hard, and I get you're trying to come in here and bring discipline, but is that kind of stuff necessary? You know, but this kind of stuff with Urban Meyer, it's like he's not forcing it. He's not trying to force this, oh, be afraid of me type of thing. It's actually something that's a little bit more organic, you know, something that, okay, I'm going to stand next to you, put pressure on you this way. Oh, I'm going to make you guys run to your next drill. You got to be here at this specific time. It's really cool, and I mean, I was really impressed with this thing by Urban Meyer, and like I said, just something really cool to see. What's going on, guys? I hope you're enjoying the video so far. I do want to make a quick announcement that a lot of people really liked my training camp vlog from last Saturday. If you guys want me to go back again this Saturday and do it all over again, get this video to 400 likes, and I will go back this Saturday and vlog it again. Now, it's up to you guys. Do you guys want me back there or not? Ball's in your court. Now, let's get back to the video. Now, next up, we'll talk about Trevor Lawrence. Now, Trevor Lawrence, to start the camp, was just killing it, man. Making all kinds of crazy throws, just really wowing a bunch of people like in the media and a bunch of fans that were able to be there. I know the practice I went to, he wasn't really his best. They were working mostly on kind of hurry-up drills, 2-minute drills, short yardage stuff. And he was kind of letting some balls kind of sail on him a little bit. And today I practiced, I guess he threw 3 interceptions, which obviously isn't very good, but I do give the fans a lot of credit. There wasn't a lot of overreactions here. I know in the past, a lot of people might maybe freaking out about this, but Jaguar fans have become smart enough to know that, look, like, it's practice. And one thing that I expect out of Trevor Lawrence, and it was interesting when Jason asked him this question about how many interceptions do I think he's going to throw this year. Probably 14 to 15. I mean, when you look at Trevor Lawrence in college, he wasn't a big take what the defense gives you guy. Like, you would see on film that, okay, like, there's this guy open for a 5-yard gain in the flats, and instead of doing that, he would push it in between zone coverage to a guy to get a 25, 30-yard gain. You know, that's one thing about his game, and, you know, that might come with some interceptions, and it might come, he might learn the hard way that, look, like, there are throws that I can no longer make in college, that I can no longer make in the NFL that I made in college. So We all know Trevor Lawrence's talent. We all know how smart he is and stuff like that. So really, these are the times that he needs to kind of work through these things and, become a better quarterback. Get these interceptions out now to maybe clean up his game later, because I would rather him throw interceptions than him be flawless, not throwing anything, because then all of a sudden, once he faces adversity in a game, how would he overcome that? So Trevor Lawrence, obviously very exciting. We're going to continue to monitor him as obviously we go throughout training camp and the preseason and all that. Now, one thing I have noticed is that there's a real Marvin Jones connection on the Jaguars. I think the Marvin Jones real free agency signing has been kind of overlooked in like the NFL and even on the Jaguars itself. But Marvin Jones is coming off a really good year, 9 touchdowns. He had like 980 receiving yards, a really successful year for a 30-year-old man. And now he's on the Jaguars. So I know a lot of people pin in DJ Chark as number one. Even they're talking about Laviska Shenault versus DJ Chark. I mean, Marvin Jones might make a real case for himself, and him being the real vet, Trevor Lawrence might lean on him a lot and might be throwing him the ball a lot. And especially without the presence of a real game-breaking tight end, Marvin Jones might also see a lot of red zone looks. So another thing to look at. Travis Etienne has really been lining up all over the place. He's lined up, behind the quarterback when he's under center. He's lining up, in shotgun right besides the quarterback. He's going into the slot, going into split out wide at wide receiver. He's all over the place. He's going to be a real gadget and, very fast, showing off a lot of his speed at training camp. First round pick, so obviously there's some big things to kind of expect out of him. But it's cool kind of seeing him split all over the place. And I got to admit, I really do like the way he looks in that number 1 jersey. He definitely owns it. Another thing I was really intrigued me a little bit is that Carlos Hyde is really running a lot with the ones at the practice I was at. I was kind of expecting him more to be really a big-time backup and not really seeing a field that much if James Robinson and Travis Etienne are healthy. But we might see a case where it looked like Carlos Hyde might have a real role in this offense, even if those guys are healthy. So this is another thing to kind of monitor. Another thing I noticed is that tight end Chris Manhertz, this is a guy that only has 12 career receptions since entering the league in 2016. You think of him, okay, run blocking tight end, that's what he is. But he's actually surprisingly nimble. I mean, he moves around really well. Like, I think that he actually has a legit role in this offense, when we actually start passing the ball around. Because, I mean, I was really impressed with the way he moved around, and he's actually somewhat, at least quicker than I thought he would be. So we'll continue to watch him. And Tim Tebow, when you're a fan going to these training camp practices, the tight ends are right in front of you. And Tebow, I mean, he looks the part to me. I mean, he's big, strong. He really catches most of the balls that come his way. I wound up recording the one that he dropped, but he catches pretty much everything coming his way. But now the real test is going to come. The Jaguars put on the pads tomorrow. We need to see how good Tim Tebow is as a blocker, because he looks good as a receiving tight end. But as a blocker, we know he's physical, but blocking doesn't. Just because you're physical doesn't mean you're going to be a great blocker. He has to get his hands on these guys, kind of stick on them like Velcro, push them back. That's what we had to kind of monitor. So that's really Tebow's next test, as he hasn't really done a lot, if any of that, in the NFL besides when he was getting some special teams work on the Jets. So. We'll continue to kind of watch that. Now, the next part, it's a little bit hard to evaluate the defensive backs and the defensive line on these in this right now during training camp, because the pads aren't on. But Tuesday, tomorrow, the pads do go on. So now we're really going to be able to see some offensive line, defensive line battles. I know me, if I'm at training camp, my favorite drill of any training camp thing is like the offensive tackles versus the defensive ends, because it's so interesting to see these guys, really go out, and it's super physical. So I'm excited about that. CJ Henderson right now is out on the reserve/COVID list. Now, I don't know. I've kind of said to you guys, like, all offseason, there's something that sketches me out a little bit about CJ Henderson, and now he's like out with, I don't even know. I don't know what's going on with him. And then he's going to come back. He's going to like be out for a long time. Like, he's so far removed from training camp. He missed all of OTAs. I don't know, man. I'm a little bit sketched out about what this is, and I don't know. we'll continue to monitor him. It's going to be tough. I really hope this doesn't turn into a bust, but I don't know where his mental health is at. I can only assume, and I don't want to. I don't want to do that. So since CJ Henderson was out at cornerbacks, I was seeing Shaquille Griffin and Sidney Jones splitting out wide with Trey Herndon lining up as nickel in the one when they were doing starter reps. So that's one thing that I saw. And then the safeties were actually Josh Jones and Rayshawn Jenkins. So mixed up a little bit. I know Jared Wilson right now is out on the reserve list. So I do want to kind of see in preseason and stuff like that, like where these guys are starting. And then the defensive line, it's all over the place, man. They're rotating all around. Joe Cullen has them all over the place. I've even seen Miles Jack line up at outside linebacker coming in there and blitzing. So it's going to be a cool defense. That's another thing that I really want to watch in the preseason to see where these guys are lining up at. It's going to be the most interesting preseason of all time. I mean, I'm usually so bored during preseason, but there's so many different things that I want to see that I really can't wait. I think the first preseason game is against the Browns on August 14th. So we're just two Saturdays away from it. And it really is so exciting. Now, before I end this video, I want to give a big shout out to Cameron. He's on Instagram at Cameron Wallace Designs. He's going to help me with some of my thumbnail work, and he's a big Jags fan. He actually has some really cool designs on his Instagram page. So do me a favor, go hit him with a follow. He definitely deserves a bunch of followers on his page. And, big shout out to him for really helping me with, some of these thumbnails on the channel going forward. And, with all that said, I also want to give a big shout out to all the members of the channel, also for all you guys do with helping me with everything I do on this channel. And with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching. Go Jags. You guys watched the whole video. Really appreciate that. You guys can subscribe to the channel for the best source of Jaguars news on the YouTube platform. Also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at UCF_Jaguar. And you can become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month for exclusive channel content. Thank you guys, and go Jags.